Hello guys, it's Kydro. In this video we're gonna talk about Jinhsi and Changli, of who you should pull. It is an insanely hard decision to make. I played both of these characters already and I can give you guys my first impression about them. While we will not talk about how they perform damage wise, I will just compare them gameplay wise, since it actually matters way more if you enjoy playing this character, the way the character plays. That's why I always say try the character out before you pull them. You can play Jinhsi in the main campaign and in the character trial right now. Changli is playable in the main campaign as well, and I also assume she's gonna be playable in the companion quest that is coming up. But now let's jump into it. Let's start with Jinhsi and we're gonna talk about Changli later. If you're planning to pull for Jinhsi, I think one of the most important things you have to know about her is that she's very dependent on other characters. You know, most of the damage from Jinhsi comes from her Forte ability. Sadly, the Forte bar doesn't really get filled with her alone, because her Forte mechanic is basically built so other team members can actually fill her Forte bar. Her Forte bar gets filled the fastest if you use coordinated attacks. Yinlin's Mark or Mortefi's ult are one of the best ones in the game that we have. This already means that Jinhsi is not a 100% on-fielder. Since most of the damage comes from this ability, you really need to swap her out from time to time, because her Forte bar fills up with attribute damage from other team members. It's almost impossible to charge up Jinhsi's Forte bar with her alone. It just takes way too long and it's a waste of time. So this is already a warning. If you want a character that is 100% on-field or 90% on-field, you should rather go for Changli already. And here's what the core gameplay mechanics look like. Jinhsi is a mix of a close combat and a range combat DPS. First up, she has 4 basic attacks that look like this. Then she also has a resonance skill, which is a normal short dash that also attacks the enemy. The most interesting thing about her kit is that she has different forms. Now if you do 4 basic attacks, you will see that something yellow pops up and her resonance skill changes. Now you have the skateboard form if you activate the resonance skill and she starts floating. Also her moveset, attacks and her abilities change, where she has more attacks with Jue involved and her attacks have a little bit of a wider range. The main goal is to do basically 4 attacks, enter the next stage like this, do another 4 attacks and enter the last stage, which looks like this. This attack is the one that you always want when her Forte bar is full. This attack is the most OP thing about her. I think she's actually invincible during this animation, which is a very underrated and oversight of many creators not mentioning this, because she's basically stuck in the cutscene or in the animation and she's not attackable by monsters or bosses. She's also a mix of a range DPS and a close combat unit. As you guys can see, with the normal stance in the ground, she does close combat attacks. But if you change to the next form, she kinda switches to a more range DPS, which can also attack targets that are further away, which is pretty useful and might not be something for everybody, because not everybody likes range DPS. Jinhsi's ult is pretty simple. It's a simple, huge AoE attack, which you can see right here. The thing I also want to mention is that the Echo set for Spectro kinda considers Spectro units not as main on-field DPS. As you guys can see, if you release an intro skill, you will get another 30%, which kinda makes Spectro units forced to sometimes swap in and swap out, so you get the full buff out of it. To just compare this with Fusion, which Changli is a Fusion character, yes, the set bonus for Fusion just needs you to do the resonance skill. So this is kinda implying Fusion is meant to be more on-field than Spectro. Now let's talk about Changli. Well, design-wise, I think many people actually prefer her instead of Jinhsi. I think both of them look amazing. I can see why some people prefer her, to be honest. But hey, you do you, whatever you like, guys. Changli is a Fusion sword unit, and yes, she is a very fast attacker. I played her a little bit and my first impression was mind-blowing. She feels like a very fast Unga Bunga character. You just do crazy combos and fill up her Forte bar by herself. So this is the huge difference already. Changli is not dependent on other units and she can be on field pretty much all the time. And this should make you guys think, which character style and gameplay style would you prefer? Would you like an on-fielder that is basically, pretty viable for almost every team? You can build a support team around her to help her stay alive, and that's it. You can also add Mortefi or other sub-DPSs to your team to increase her damage even further. I cannot really say where most of her damage is coming from, but I think actually leveling up her basic attacks will be pretty viable for her. She might be a unit that does most of her damage with just quick attacks and combos. Most of the damage for most of the characters though come from the Forte ability. Her Forte ability charges up with certain combos. You basically also do 4 attack combos and this fill up your Forte bar. If the Forte bar is full, she does like this huge fire explosion with Phoenix feathers. And her ult is actually pretty similar, looks almost the same. I think it's a little bit bigger, has also this huge explosion and does a ton of damage. And she also gains a damage buff from her ult, increasing her attack by 25%. If I had to guess which character is more complex, I think it's probably Changli, because you have to pull off certain combos. Then again, you pull these combos off pretty easily just by spamming attacks. Changli's resonance skill will also help you do certain combos and fill up her Forte bar faster. You can also do the resonance skill twice. Also, her playstyle and combos change if you press a heavy attack. That means she also has different gameplay styles in her kit. I know that her whole mechanic is depending on the true sight combination attacks that you need to pull off to fill up her Forte. After you press her resonance skill, she enters True Sight, lasting for 12 seconds. In the end, she releases a plunging attack, dealing fusion damage. She also gets True Sight when she does certain basic attack combinations, there's mid-air combination, and a lot of more combinations that I didn't really try out, but you can see it right here. So she needs to do certain combinations with her basic attacks and mid-air attacks and heavy attacks to pull off certain combos, and this is basically Changli's kit. If you want a basic attack spammer with huge combination potential that stays on the field a long time, that can be put in almost every team, just use Changli and pull Changli. If you want a unit that has huge nuke potential but needs a little bit of time to charge up her attacks to do the most damage and is also dependable on other units she needs to swap out sometimes, you should go for Jinhsi. It really depends on what gameplay style you want, and these two couldn't be any different. I pulled for Jinhsi because I think she's very beautiful and I like her design. Also, her gameplay is very fun too. But when I played Changli, my mind kinda made a 360 to be honest, for a little while, at least while I played her. And I thought to myself, this gameplay style is actually more me. Because in Genshin and other gacha games, I prefer characters that I don't swap out. I want a character that is on the field most of the time, that I don't really need to swap out to do most of the damage. Also, Changli's animations are very sick and very fun to use. It's a crazy game flow. Not saying that Jinhsi's animations are worse or anything, I just think that Changli is more my style. I hope I helped out some people and made your decision easier of who you should pull for. Do you go for the Devil May Cry character, Changli? Or do you go for Noelle Silver from Black Clover? What is more your playstyle, guys? Let me know in the comments, and if this video was helpful, I would appreciate it if you give this a thumbs up. If you want to see more Wuthering Waves content, make sure you subscribe, and I see you in the next one hopefully. Thanks for watching, bye bye.
Could only one world, one love, but the battle goes on, shadows of mass destruction. Ooh, yeah. Do 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 do. Baby, baby. Do 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 do. Ooh, yes. Do 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 do. Baby, baby. Do 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 do.